Good evening, everybody. It's Debbie Flynn here, the chair of the Anglo-Jordanian Society, and I'm really excited to welcome you to one of our in conversation with. My guest is just stuck in a bit of traffic, but he will be here any minute, and I can perhaps tell you a little bit about how this came about. My connection to Jordan goes back many years when we were the Jordan Tourism Board in the UK and ran that for 21 years and worked really closely with Hakim, who is my guest. And I saw him actually last, probably in March at a big travel show called ITB. And in fact, I was talking to him and the managing director of the JTB about another business that I'm involved in, which is all about solo female travel. And so Hakim told me, as did Dr. Abed from the Tourism Board, about this new trail, which they believe was probably the first solo female traveller ever. And it's only just was only had only just been launched in January in Spain because there's a partnership between the trail, which I know I'm going to say wrong. So when Hakim comes on, I'm going to explain. I'm going to get him to help me pronounce it correctly. But it's a partnership with the Camino de Santiago. So that's why it's very relevant that he, as the head of the Jordan Tourism Board in Spain, actually launches this trail. So I'm hoping he's going to arrive any minute. But in the meantime, for this other business that I have invested in, it's all about taking women that want to travel together but are solo travelers. And I'm actually going to take a trip to Jordan next September. And we're going to include a little bit of this trail on it. So there's a lot of a lot of things that all work together. So I'm hoping that you'll find this really interesting. And it's something new that's happening in Jordan. It's really important, with my travel industry hat on, that we keep creating new product for people. We call it the experience economy now. Everything is very much about experiences. People do not want to fly and flop like they used to, and they want to have these enriching experiences. And it's very linked to history. With my Finn Partners hat on, we had an event last week called Global Voices, and we had Dan Snow, the historian from History Hit, speaking and just talking about actually the relevance to everybody about traveling and the importance that history plays now. So thank you, Dima, for welcoming everybody. And I'm sorry that you can't talk back to me because it's weird being on a webinar rather than a Zoom and not seeing anybody else. But I'm very much hoping Akin will join us any minute. But feel free to put anything in the chat because I'm feeling very lonely here. But I did just speak to him and he's on his way. So I can probably tell you a little bit more about the trail. I know that Egeria was a nun, which we'll hear a bit more about. Probably one of the original pilgrimages, and that she wrote a lot about her experiences in a very sort of, they call it very crude sort of Latin, but it really taught when they were discovered a lot of people about I guess, a female perspective from many, many years ago, about what she experienced when she walked the trail in Jordan, and how relevant it is now to many of the historical sites in Jordan. And I don't know if anyone's ever walked the Spain's Camino de Santiago trail, but I know that it's become one of those pilgrimages and trails that's on people's bucket lists. And I think what the Jordan Tourism Board are very much hoping is that that's what this will become. So fingers crossed that we get Hakim talking about it. Thank you for all your nice messages. We've got some of our committee on, which is great too. We just make sure he's found his link. Okay. Oh, here he is. Oh, fantastic. Okay, I did think I would be trying to do this all on my own for a minute. Hello, Hakim, can you hear me? Okay, this is looking positive though.
Hi, Debbie.
You,
It's Dima here. I just shared this so we can scroll through just to let people know what this is about, and hopefully Hakim will join us.
okay. Oh, I got my hopes up there that he was
Yeah,
about to
sorry.
come.
Just to make it easier for you to see this.
Okay, okay, the Egeria way. Very much, Dima. I'm kind of tempted to maybe try him again to see if he's imminent. Um, I might just go on silent for. Okay, he's made it to his computer. So actually, you can see um, that the trail traces the final 2 days of the broader John the Baptism Trail. Has anyone walked this trail? I'd be interested to know.
Hello, humans.
Ah, there you are. Yes,
How are you?
I'm good,
Am I
Hakim.
visible? I don't see myself. Do I look
I can
decent?
see you.
Do I look
Because
decent?
Dima was just putting up a little bit of information from the Jordan Tourism Board site to keep everyone entertained.
And she clicked on the best site because it's the one that I made. So yeah.
Great. Fantastic. Okay. So that's brilliant. Well, we've got 17 guests with us who are
Hello,
all,
humans.
yes, all keen to hear from you. And what I was telling everybody earlier, in fact, that you and I go back a long way, and that this conversation started when I saw you at ITB in Berlin, and I was talking about the solo female travel club that I was getting involved in, and then this is when you talked about this trail. And since then, this club has launched. I'm bringing a trip to Jordan, and we thought what we try and do with these in conversation webinars is really just talk about something interesting from somebody's perspective. So, I guess welcome, Hakim. How long have you been with the Jordan Tourism Board now, and where are you based? Just as a little reminder.
So hello, my name is Hakim. I'm married. I'm one. No, I'm just kidding. So I have been with the Jordan Tourism Board for 9 years now, and prior to that, I had my own adventure travel company. So I've been in that world since almost 2000. I established my company while I was still in university back in 2008. Started already in 2008. So I've been in touch with Jordan's nature. Since then, it's been my passion. I'm one of the guys who started. I'm the first Jordanian who started GPSing what is now the Jordan Trade. And I was the founder of the Jordan Trade Association. I was privileged that I entered some of the now more known hiking trails, the first time. So I have a very special relationship with my nature, the nature of my country, mainly because I happen to have seen it before the mass tourism started, I don't want to say ruin it because it's still beautiful for those who see it for the first time. For me, it's a bit different relationship. Debbie and I go back. Yes, I think we have like 6 children in common. But she left me and she took the dog and left me the kids. So I have to deal with that. And the reason I'm late today, I'm sorry. my wife is taking care of her very sick father, so I'm alone. I'm a single dad, and I had to pick up my kid, and he's being whiny because I didn't feed him properly, and I cooked dinner yesterday, but I didn't finish cooking it, so it's a bit of a mess. I guess some of you can relate.
Give him a packet of crisps and let him watch some cartoons on television.
You know what? He's telling me, he's like, I like cartoon, but I know you're blackmailing me with cartoon. I want to spend time with you. I'm like, mother. We educated him too well.
They get cleverer. So look, tell me then, how did the whole idea of this new trail now? And also, I went to see the Jordan gang at World Travel Market last week, I mean, and I was saying Egeria, but it's not. It's how do you pronounce it? I can't do it.
So you're forgiven. You're British. It's fine. And all no, I'm just kidding. Spanish also have a big problem with pronouncing any other languages. Everybody has a handicap. Okay. I happen to be from Jordan and Spain. So on one hand, I totally understand English, Spanish people having problem pronouncing any other language. And on the other hand, I understand Arabic people being able to pronounce the B because they say the BB and the BB. Having said that, the Egeria, as you said she's a Spanish lady, and in Spain they call it Egeria. So you don't need to force yourself to do. It's okay. It's okay. We forgive you. It's okay. It's taken. You can say Egeria. It's all good. We understand. Okay, so this lady. So let's give two different backgrounds here. Yeah. The first background is this lady. Like we're talking about, for any of you who knows Gertrude Bell. For me, Gertrude Bell is the actual Lawrence of Arabia, but she happened to be a woman, so they had to give the credit to Lawrence of Arabia. So Gertrude Bell was this revolutionary woman who was from, the upper class England in the late 1800s, who was like, oh, I'm not made for house, and she started climbing mountains. And in fact, some of the peaks in the area of Chamonix in the Alps are named after her because she was the first one to climb. And she was this like really outgoing woman. She went to the consulate of Iran, learned Farsi, and then learned English and Arabic, and she learned everything about the Arab world. And there's this amazing human, this woman that did all this when there was all these taboos on women. And she gave all the data for Lawrence of Arabia and Churchill that ended up dividing our region. So not so great for me. But that was in the late 1800s, early 1900s. But in the third freaking century, fourth centuries, correction, in the year 381, 3 years after, I think his name is Diocletianus, the Roman emperor who happened to be from northern Spain, from Galicia, adopted Christianity to the Western Roman Empire. The Eastern Roman Empire was already Christian, the Byzantine, but the Western wasn't, and then it became Christian. So she was curious to know about this religion, where it comes from and everything. So we're talking about a woman in the 381 who decides to go and explore the Holy Land. She embarks on a journey. She crosses to what is now Barcelona, Catalonia, takes the boat to Genoa, Italy, crosses to Venice, takes the boat to Constantinople, and walks down to the Holy Land. Huh? Wow. Of course, we're talking let's be honest to each other. This is a woman that clearly had financial potential to do that, and clearly had her group of either slaves or workers. Nonetheless, this is practically the first woman solo traveler in our region. Yeah. And she also wrote a book called Itinerarium Egeria, which some might say that it is the first ever travel guidebook, where she wrote all of her trips. And that book ended up being passed down generations in monasteries. Probably the monks didn't know that it was a woman writing it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have wrote it. But it ended up reaching us as in you can find it in Amazon and buy it.
Wow.
And frankly speaking, reading some parts of it, describing some parts of my country, at least the nature, it's so on spot. 1,700 years later. Huh? Her writings were written, were published, and the book was there. I don't know which Minister of Tourism or which enlightened employee in the Ministry of Tourism or in the office of Madaba added her notes in a certain brochure that was published in the 80s and never published again. And this old man, Circassian, another interesting story that we have in our beloved country. These guys are a Slavic minority that escaped Russian oppression during the Crimean War, when France and England deterred the Russian Empire from invading the Ottoman Empire. The Russian Empire started a big propaganda anti-Muslims, and there was massive massacres against all the Muslim communities. And Russian Empire is huge, so sure, it has Muslims too. And in the Caspian, in the Caucasus, in the Caspian, there was a big, large Muslim community, and they were genocide. And they migrated down south. And as they migrated down south, they settled in different Muslim lands. So one of those lands was Jordan, and they went to the rivers. So here you go, these guys with winter boots and winter clothes and like blue-eyed white people, and they settled in Amman. In fact, they established modern city Amman. And if any of you now Googles Jordanian Royal Guard, you'll find people that, in your view, that's not a Jordanian. But it is as Jordanian as it gets. Our land has always been a land that takes everybody. It happened historically, and it's still happening today. So this guy is a descendant from a Circassian, and he was a guide. And his son is also a guide. So he had this book, this booklet that I told you about, and Egeria was mentioned in that booklet. So his son Oscar read it when he was young, and he remembers about it. And one day, hiking a route that goes, that's the hand of the little one.
Okay.
Hiking a route that goes down from Mount Nebo down to the baptism site that we drew in 2017 as an attempt to create a pilgrimage route. We wanted to create a route that goes from Rasas, which is this old old Byzantine city full of churches that has the largest untouched mosaic in the Middle East. So we wanted to start a hiking route from there to the baptism site, crossing different areas. And one of the part was that part, from Mount Nebo down to the baptism site. So Oscar knew about this, so when he started hiking it. And he remembered, he's like, wait, those Roman ethos, way markers, are very similar to the ones that my dad told me about from this Egeria character. So he went back to the book, and he got the actual book of Egeria, and it was verbatim the trail. So that woman described how she walked to Jerusalem using that route. So when Oscar told me, it's like, there's a historical context here. Like, whoa, that's exactly what I want, because tourism is stories.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to practice flute right here.
Love it. Well, maybe at the end he can give us a little recital.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah,
everyone would be very pleased.
So I hope you're not hearing it.
No, it's fine.
So
This is a test for you how you can concentrate on telling us the story while having your son practice flute in the background, right? I think everybody's feeling for you.
this is I'm being tested here. So yeah, also, as I was saying, what is a tourism product if not a story, you know? Like what made the Camino Santiago what it is for centuries, if not the story that the bones of a guy from the Middle East who was proclaimed a saint ended up in a church, you know, like, anyways. So I jumped on it. I'm like, come on, give me, what is that? So he explained to me, and we saw the connection. He contacted Spanish writers, and it was confirmed that was the route. He started talking to the embassy and the Spanish Cultural Center. The ambassador was very active. And I had already been in touch with the Camino Santiago, which is a very hard entity to deal with because the actual route is from everywhere. So nobody has autonomy over the route. There are associations that are in charge of the Templars of the Camino de Santiago, the Hospitaliers of the Camino de Santiago, the Friends of Camino de Santiago. But it seems that the only ownership of the Camino de Santiago is the regional government of Galicia, where it finishes, and they're intertwined with the church. So after many talks with them previously to try to get them to twin the Jordan Trail, and they refused to because there's no religious value for them, I tried to twin the religious route that I told you about, which is the 5-day thing. Puedo ver Telfi. Yeah, you can see TV. So you wrote it on a paper. Cute.
Oh, lovely.
So I had in line that the dean of the church would come and kind of baptize a Christian lady that would walk the 5 days. But the dean had a huge stroke and was incapacitated for a couple of years. And then the regional government had no interest in coming to our region. So I eventually changed the tone and told them about, hey, Egeria was from Galicia. She's one of your ladies. Maybe we want to twin that. And they're like, yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting. There was a lot of back and forth of me wanting to bring them over so they can sign in Jordan, or me bringing the delegation to sign there. Eventually, I used the platform of Fitur, where there's already a lot of media press, and I managed to get a memorandum of understanding for twinning El Camino de Egeria with El Camino de Santiago, kind of connecting two historical, like the two nations through this Egeria lady.
That was in January this year, right?
Yeah, that was Fitur this year. Wow, time runs. Yeah.
But that's fantastic that you were able to do that. And do you how do you feel in terms of the past, i.e. Egeria herself and the modern? How do you really feel? What do you think is the historical importance of that link in terms of people choosing to either experience it, or it could be a reason for people to go to Jordan that have never been, right?
So in a world ever divided by algorithms, politicians, media that feeds on our hate, feeds on our ignorance from each other so that later on they could paint the other as Saracen, barbarian, Islamist, heathen, infidel. For me, Egeria represents that traveler, that intrepid traveler that is willing to forget about all that noise and go and meet that other. That other that eventually, once you go to that country, whether you're going from a village in northern England to a village in Tanzania, and then after you eat with auntie in her house, and she feeds you and she overfeeds you, you realize that, damn, she could be my auntie. It's just, And Egeria represents that person who's willing to jump over the shadow and say, I'm gonna go and discover these people. She stayed and died in the Holy Land.
Did she?
Yeah. And her book is a witness, knowing that today people are spoon-fed that our region is dangerous, that this is a dangerous region and you shouldn't go and whatever. And some political figures feed on this hate and division. This woman echoes through the past to today to show us that this is just not the reality. And you should get over yourself and go and explore the world and go and travel and allow the world to explore you. That sounded bad. Allow the world to show you its real face. Go, get lost. in Jordan, in Egypt, in Peru, in Scotland, in the fjords. Get out of your comfort zone and go and explore the world. And if she did it in the year 381, why couldn't a solo woman traveler do it now?
Exactly. And I imagine that when you're walking it, you can almost visualize what it was like for her a little bit, because it's still quite rural, isn't it? In terms of, it's not like there are lots of hotels on the trail.
No, none. So this area, for those who don't know, I used to have long hair. I still have this tradition to do this,
So
although
yeah,
I don't have hair anymore. I don't have hair anymore, but I still do this as I've had long hair. So the Dead Sea is the lowest point on Earth. And Jordan is a Mediterranean mesette. Our capital, Amman, is at 1,000 meters above sea level. For you Brits, that's like, I don't know how many legs and feet and nails. I think it's like 3,000 feet.
We do have quite a few Jordanians though watching. In fact, we have a message from Wissam. We're all very relaxed. Put things in the chat whenever you like. From Wissam, who says this is fascinating. So, thank you, Hakim. He works on Ezwa in Al Madaba, which explores community-based storytelling and walking practices, and is interested in how local communities might be engaged in these efforts to link the two, and are there conversations around this being talked about and how the routes are shared? Because I think, sort of going back to the question I just asked you about it being quite rural, you might be able to build some answers to this question into that
Absolutely.
too.
Just a quick
Sorry,
visualization
Wissam.
where the area is. So being the lowest point on Earth and being the Mediterranean mesette about 1,000 meters at some point 700, some point 600, and water finds its way to always carve through these valleys. So when you're over the Mount Nebo, you are at about maybe 600 meters above sea level, and you can see the Dead Sea. It's at minus 400. And all that area hasn't been constructed. There's nothing there construction-wise. All the development is behind you. The plateaus historically have been wheat fields for hundreds of years, the basket of Rome. But everything there has been hard terrain in a way. So even historically hasn't been a plantation area. Until you go down and you reach the lower flats of the Jordan Valley, which is an ultra fertile land. When all this rain keeps pushing all this mud and soils with all the rich minerals down to the Rift Valley, that becomes ultra fertile land. And that is what we call the Ghor. And there's tons of plantations and a lot of farmers living off the land there. So the trail starts in Mount Nebo, where your connection as a traveler will be with the people who work in Mount Nebo, the priests, the monks. And once you start walking, you're literally experiencing what Egeria experienced. Just the nature and you can see the Holy Land in front of you. I mean, we are the Holy Land too. It's all Holy Land, but you can see occupied Palestine in front of you. And once you go down, you start passing through different villages and different communities. And because this trail is still new, we haven't yet created this connection with the local community there. We know that there's already one person, at least, I'll catch his name and share it with you later, that has already realized that there's a potential for business here. And he started offering food services. And we appreciate this type of initiatives. From my history and experience of working with the rural communities and product development, I am completely against pumping money for product development into regions, because then you're killing the entrepreneurial spirit. And as soon as the business stops coming, that person who did not build the business from his own money will just let it go. But like that, by driving traffic through marketing efforts, that's when you have local people coming up and developing their own products. We saw that very successfully with the Jordan Trail. So we hope that we're going to keep pushing travelers to go to the Egeria Trail. It's a very simple trail. It's perfect to fit in itineraries for normal travelers who want to make a one-day hike, or adventure travelers who would like to put like a 2-day hike here along with other stuff. or eventually make the whole extended thing, starting in Rasas. But working with local communities is definitely something that we're interested in. And in that question from Wissam, we have seen we do want to collaborate with the Camino de Santiago. There was the idea before October 7th. That was that they would come and establish a stone from Camino de Santiago in Mount Nebo, and we do the same thing in Galicia, in Santiago Compostela, and there would be an exchange of experiences. So they would bring some experts to help us develop stuff there, and we would bring some of our experts to help develop things there. I mean, not that we can develop much, but we can tell them about how to deal with more off the beaten path terrain, because everything's done there basically. Yeah. So in terms of local community, it's definitely something that we want to work on.
Presumably at the moment, you can't do it in all in one go, because where do you stay? I mean, and that's an opportunity potentially. Is it for some camping or homestays?
So there's in the Rama area down in the Ghor, I think there's one person offering the house. I don't have that exact information. I can share with you the contact of Oscar, who is the guy that came up with all this. But as of today, there is no hotel. No.
So this is like
there would be a room there for a boutique. Absolutely.
At the beginning. I mean, in terms of the sites that people will know of and that will be famous, what are they that you'll experience? And what are the ones that are the real gems that people wouldn't know about on the trail?
They wouldn't know about much. And I think that's part of the experience, you know.
Right,
it's about going there and wait, are these way markers from the Roman Empire? You know, I'm walking and there's a Roman Empire way marker there, another one there, another one there. If the videos in the website that you guys were opening, there's a tiny video that we made. We actually looked for a girl who used to be my climbing student. Her name is Nadine, and we picked her for the video. I picked her for the video for her resemblance to Egeria. And if you guys open the website and see the video, you'll see at the end that we made a little, transition phase from her to now to Egeria, the original Egeria. And in the video, you'll see that there are water springs that are biblically mentioned. It should be up on the top at the beginning of the,
there it is. Let's have a look.
So there are springs that were mentioned by the Bible, that these are some of the springs that Moses created when he looked for the water to squash this thirst of his people. So this is Nadine. Yeah. So in the video, she's walking the actual 5 days, which covers Mkawar, which covers Rasas, as I said, Madaba, the city. And then she arrives to Mount Nebo, and that's Mount Nebo.
Amazing.
So as she looks down Mount Nebo, that's Oscar, the guy that did the whole thing. And here, as she looks down Mount Nebo, she makes the connection with Compostela.
Right, beautiful.
That's where the Camino starts.
So at this moment in time, you have a vision, right? This is a passion project. If we were sitting here in 10 years' time, what would your vision be? How famous the trail becomes, how communities are involved.
I would want to be very cautious though, because I don't want it only to become a pilgrim trip, but I see its future as a pilgrim trip, as dozens of faith seekers come and want to see, connect to the biblical story of the baptism site. But with the help of people like you, I would like it also to attract empowered women
Mm-hmm.
that want to follow the steps of, this brave woman and say, let's see what she saw, let's feel what she felt, and let's share with the world what she shared.
I mean, I guess longer term, you might be able to train some female guides to
So we
take
have
you
already
on trips.
we have
Yeah.
already
Oh,
two we
great.
have already two female guides that are working actually working in the trail. One, her name is Ahlam. She's an amazing guide. And the other one is Hannah Neber. But I don't know if Hannah Neber will be coming back because she's working in Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
There was another
wonderful.
message from Wissam. I really appreciate the vision of connecting travelers to local places. Someone from Al Faisaliya, Lean, where community has long cared for the spring near Mount Nebo. I wonder how such initiative can ensure that local voices are ancestral relationship to these lands, guide the process through as well Bedouin women-led initiative. I would love to connect you guys. Wissam, please take my contact. I'm gonna write it here, my email in the chat. Okay.
Fabulous. Live connections. But actually, this is how things get created, isn't it? This was, an idea. There we are. Great.
Wissam, if you're listening, I do not believe in any local tourism product development without the local community engagement. I think it's key, and I would like to shut my phone up, but it's not working. Okay. So yeah, I think it's absolutely key. And if there's already a person there that we can connect them, let's do it. This is their land, and this is their story to tell. And we are just facilitators to trying to bring people from around the world so that they could tell them their story. So absolutely.
I think your other legacy is the Jordan Trail. I mean, and look how big, where did that start and how big did that become?
The Jordan Trail. It was 2009. So I was already at that point, already had installed climbing routes in different parts in Jordan. I spent hours on Google Earth looking for valleys, places where there could be water, or cliffs where I could equip climbing routes. I also know the north very well because my parents have a olive farm there, and every time I would get bored, I would walk around to discover different things here and there. There was this famous tree that used to be, it got ruined, but it had an expansion of 1 dunum, which is an Ottoman metric. It's in a village of the village is called Samoua in Erbil. I've also started doing like different canyons and stuff and hikes, and I knew about some trails. So I had a vision of connecting these existing spots and these existing trails. So Dana to Petra already existed. Abraham Path existed, Majlon. Itai Aviv had wrote about the trail that crosses the 3 canyons of the Northern Dead Sea. I knew about the Smuggler's Trail from Wadi Rum to Aqaba. Anis Samani has done a trail from Petra to Wadi Rum. So I really dreamt about making a connection, connecting all these. I had a map in my office, and in 2009, I drew a yellow line connecting all these points and said, I need to do this. This is going to be my Camino Santiago. 2010, I had 2 accidents. I broke my knee in 2009 in September, and then broke my skull in December. I fell off a ladder.
Oh no. With all your massively big extreme adventure things.
A ladder, yeah, a ladder. And I was in coma for 2 days, and I was incapacitated for a few months. So in the spring of 2011, I'm in my office, and this American guy who was doing Jesus Trail in occupied Palestine comes, and we meet. We were a small community adventure, so whenever anybody comes from adventure from outside, they would come and present themselves. Oh, and we all know each other. That's how I know Tony Howard, Wilfred Corona, all these names. So he came to introduce himself, and he looked at them. I was like, "What is that?" God, that's just the project I had in mind. It's like there's people talking about this project. I'm like, who? So he put me in a email thread, and it was Mona Haddad, Rakan Mahyar, who had Tirhal back then. I had Tropical Desert, so we were competitors. Matthew Teller from
Oh yeah.
the Blue Guidebook, and Mark Khano, Jordan Guiding Star. So apparently they were having emails loop about this project. So I joined their conversations and we started talking. At some point, after a lot of talking about what do we name the route, how do we name it, whatever, where do we get the funding, I'm not a guy who sits down and does these things. I'm just gonna walk it. So I put on an ad in my, like an announcement in my company for those clients that are most experienced, that have been going out with me for a long time. We're going to go explore a route. And we went up to the north, and the idea was that we start in Yarmouk River, in a place called Birkat Arayis. It's a small lake right before Yarmouk River, a natural lake, very tiny pond more than a lake. And we had 2 cars, and in my car I had my wife-to-be girlfriend back then, and a few friends, and one of them was Iraqi citizen. So we crossed the first checkpoint. They didn't ask us. He looked at us like, "Oh, a foreigner, going." The next checkpoint, he asked, and then she showed the Iraqi idea. So he's like, "Iraqis can't come here. This is a restricted area." And that's why the Jordan Trail starts up in Kais and not down in Yarmouk.
Oh wow.
We went
Gosh.
back to Kais, to the top, and you're like, "Okay, so I guess the Jordan Trail will start from here." Okay, so it starts from Kais, and I knew where we were going. We were going to Tel Zara, which is a client.
I've lost you. We've got no volume suddenly. Unless it's just me. Oh no, you're back. You're back.
Okay. So from Kais, I could see already where I was going. Next to Arab Dam, a small hill that has an Iron Age village, but underneath it has a cliff, overhang cliff, with 24 routes that I equipped. So that was the first day. We started walking there. I had drew a line. We started walking, and then we realized that the line doesn't look very well, because on Google Earth that you couldn't see that steep thing. So we go around. We went around and reached there, and on the phone I'm like talking to the driver. "Yeah, you need to meet me in this village. Go there." The guy got lost and got to reach us. That was the first day of the first marked route of the Jordan Trail. The next day we went there and did the second. And then the weekend after, another part. The weekend after, another part. At the end of that winter, we reached Amman. And the year after, another company joined. Mark Khano hired two people. Ayman, who is now the director of the Experience Jordan, and Amjad Shahrour, who used to be my guide and then ended up working for him. And they trained them on how to do map writing. So they started doing the whole thing from what we started and continuing down. And then we, like, basically it became a group effort. And by the end of the second year, they've reached Aqaba.
That's such a great story.
And the year after, they established the association. I was one of the founders of the association. And we had an association with 11 people and started trying to promote as much as we can. But I think one of the main key factors of the success of the Jordan Trail was that in the first board, which was me, Mona Haddad, Lina Nab, Amjad Shahrour, and Rakan, was that Lina, being the treasurer, later became the minister. So it became kind of her baby to promote it. And not long after that, I became the head of adventure tourism department in Jordan Tourism Board. So definitely I promoted it too. But it was a good thing that we did that, because it really became an anchor for tourism in Jordan. It became one of the main pillars. Like in 2023, we were already comfortably saying Petra, Dead Sea, Wadi Rum, Jordan Trail.
I mean, it is incredible, and I've seen all of those years how it came from nowhere to being something everybody talked about. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge. And Egeria could be the same in
Yes.
its own way. I mean, one of the things I was thinking about is, she was, you could claim first solo female traveler, and one of the things that I know for the many years that we were representing Jordan is that, we have ups and downs, don't we, and how safe people feel. But if you started getting lots of solo female travelers on this trail and the product developed, you don't need to say the word safe. You just see women going on their own and having an amazing experience. And that in itself is massive for the branding of the country. So I think, even if it's small ways that women can do the whole trail or some of it to begin with. I mean, the trip that I'm doing, we'll have some of it just in one day, but it can be built into people's itineraries, so you start to make it famous, can't it? At the moment.
I mean, I'm so just for you guys to know, the entirety of the Jordan Trail is being done by solo hikers as we speak, and at least every year there's 3 or 4 solo female hikers doing the whole thing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So I mean, it's the fastest growing market in travel, solo female travel.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is inspired. And in terms of your role in Spain, have you seen more interest from, I guess, from the Spanish trade at this point in time?
I don't only work for this. Like I cover all of Europe in terms of adventure, and I definitely see, like, I had a conversation with a Swedish lady that did the whole thing on her own. Rachel, a British lady, also that did it on her own. Like they contact us as the adventure tourism for information, or the Jordan Trail, and the Jordan Trail tells us about all these people that want to walk it. Listen, let's not bullshit ourselves here. It is hard to be a woman in this planet. It sucks that when a woman walks at night, she needs to look over her shoulder wherever you go in this world. And I acknowledge that, and we acknowledge that. And I could come and tell you all, like, yeah, it's the safest thing. You can definitely do it, but nonetheless, you're still a woman, and there are risks. Okay, so I'm not gonna whitewash stuff. It's a reality, and that's why they stay in touch with us, and we stay in touch with them. Okay, so that's why how we get reports about this area has a lot of wild dogs, that are a bit aggressive. So can you please be careful about that? Or we make sure that they contact with local guides on the way, just to make sure that they know where they are and they're safe and all these things. We understand that, and as I said, this can happen in Jordan, but it can also happen in Switzerland.
In London. So if somebody is watching this now and wants to do it, where do they go? What's the advice? Should they go onto the Jordan Tourism Board website? Where would they start?
So the Jordan Tourism Board website has data, has the GPS line, as you can see, the map, the drawing, you can see it, has decent information. I would still, as of today, say, you know what? For the sake of people like Azwa, contact Azwa, contact the local guide, contact that local person. It's not just about, yeah, I'm empowered, I can do it on my own. I know you can, but you're missing out on what makes a destination, which is the people. What makes an experience is your driver, your guide, the person that cooks you, the person that talks to you. That's what makes a destination rich. And that's what makes our destination rich. I don't know about you, Debbie. Actually, no, I know about you in particular, Debbie. I know you like us, Jordanians.
Well, you do know that.
I know you like us, Jordanians. And that's what I mean. It's not about Jordan. There's no Jordan without Jordanians, just like there's no England without Brits.
Very true. No, it's so true. And as we all know, having worked for Jordan for many years, the country exceeds people's expectations for 2 reasons. And the number one is the people, and then the number 2 is actually the product experience. So, and unless you know a Jordanian, you don't know that. So, that's a very important part of your culture and what you've got. And I think what we should do is as the Anglo-Jordanian Society, and I know Dima's on the call, we will put something in our newsletter. We'll talk to you after this, and we'll get the details of the guides too, and we'll put a bit of extra information, because obviously there'll be some people that couldn't make today that would be really interested. I mean, I think it's fantastic, and I love hearing about something right at the beginning, and sharing it. So I really, really appreciate the time, and I know that you've got a lot on at the moment. Before we finish, has anyone got any other questions for Hakim because this is the weird thing about webinars, you can't see people. So you don't, unless they put something in the chat, we don't know. Is there anything else we haven't talked about the trail today that you would like to add? I mean, I think it's been such a good story. I know what we need. We need someone to make a TV program about her life and follow the trail, because there must be a really interesting story or a documentary, don't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, like not even for the sake of the trail, just for the sake of her. Like,
yeah, Richard, you're right. Yeah, Richard's just commented. That's what we need. So if anyone's got any TV connections out there, but I do think you can imagine it being a really amazing documentary. What are the comments made of? How women have changed. You're right. Yeah, well, not alone, but as I say, what we could do, we can get a group of people together. So this is lovely here, looking at all those comments. Thank you. Well, we'll make sure everyone's got the right information, and maybe we can check in with you again in a couple of years and see where it is. And maybe we can all do our bit.
You know, maybe we can put a group together if you guys want.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. We could do an Anglo-Jordanian group. That's a great idea. Why don't we will see. You know, next year obviously is a big year for Jordan with the anniversary celebrations. We are hoping to do a big event for the first time it'll be the first time in 10 years, a big fundraiser and celebrate independence. And so next year's a big year. So we will see if we can't do that. I think
that would be amazing. We can put a group together, and maybe if we put a group together and we work with our contacts, we can bring some creative producer that once they see it, they're like, wait, what? Let's make something about this.
Okay, so I think challenge taken by me and many of the people. Actually, that's a very good question, Dima. When is the best time to do it? I hadn't thought about asking that. What time of year?
Fall,
spring,
spring.
fall. Yeah. Yes,
even winter. Even winter, because you can swim in the Dead Sea in winter. It's warm. Windy, but warm. I mean, if you guys are from England, it's not cold.
Exactly. Well, you know, we need to thank your son for behaving so well. Honestly, he gets an extra bag of crisps or a bar of chocolate, right?
I will spoil him. He wants a poke, so I'll make him a poke.
Okay, that's amazing. Well, it's so good to see you. You know, you're a special person, and I know how much you do for Jordan. And it looks like everybody's really enjoyed it. So you were worth waiting for. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry for the delay, guys.
No, please don't worry. Lovely to see everybody. And we'll, as I say, we'll share a recording of this to the wider group, and we will, let's make it happen. Let's bring a group.
Thank you all.
Okay. And thank you for staying late, because I know it's later in Spain. Take care.
Bye-bye.